Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
And we do a lot of them in partnership with the Marietta Waldemar Chamber of Commerce. We are part of the Riverside County Office of Economic Development, where we do a lot of collaboration at the regional level to promote small businesses in our city and get them noticed by regional agencies and other investors at the regional level and the state level. And we do a lot of marketing and promotion activities. And this is where I would like to highlight the importance of knowing the businesses out there. Because as we do campaigns, as we do events, we do contracts to implement certain activities, we look for local talent. We look for local businesses. And when we know that you offer the service that we're looking for, we would definitely start with you instead of going to other regions, right? And what I would like to show you here is an example of a campaign that just started today to support small businesses. So this is a campaign that we're doing as part of a national movement that's called Small Business Saturday, where we try to support small businesses within our city, especially during the shopping period. You know how it gets a bit crazy between things, the Black Friday and the Cyber Monday, and everybody goes crazy about shopping everywhere. Well, we need to remember that there are small businesses in our city. And this is one way of us supporting them. So what we're doing this week is we're encouraging shoppers to shop locally at any small business, and all they have to do is actually take a photo of their purchase or the service that they got from that local business, and they might win they might have a chance to win one of 2 iPads that will be available to them. Hopefully, we'll have people from Marietta winning, but this is open to any shoppers in the area as well. And I would like to share with you this video that we actually did last week. And we worked with a local videographer to actually do the video series to promote this campaign. So let's watch it together.
I love giving the gift of experiences, like a gift certificate to the Marietta Day Spa. That's how I shop small Marietta.
So this is one of many video bites that we developed for this campaign. And this is, by the way, our city manager. So we have so many opportunities for you as a business owner to work with us. All we need to know is your contact information. We need to make sure that you're networking with other businesses, and we know about your business so we can actually look for opportunities to work with you. One more pillar of the focus of our department is actually workforce development. And we do a lot of activities throughout this year. In February, right before COVID, so we're hoping next year we'll be able to do one to support local talent and to encourage local businesses to actually hire local talent, which is really key. Because we want people in our city to live, work, and enjoy life within the city. They don't have to commute for hours, and that's something that we focus on in this pillar. We partner with so many educational institutions like MSJC. We work with the school district board. We try to attract new universities and colleges to actually come to our city to help grow the workforce for the future. One more thing that we focus on heavily is startup support. So we have what's called the Marietta Innovation Center in our city, where we incubate so far 9 startup businesses that are specializing in the health service and biotechnology fields. We're trying to gain the the reputation of being the health hub in the region, and that's why we are working really hard to support those businesses, incubate them to make sure that they have the best chances to grow. So if you're in the health service field, please let us know. We want to talk to you. We want to make sure that you get all the support that you need to grow in the city. We help them with access to funding. We try to get capital investment at the state level, the local level, even at the federal level, and sometimes we try to get foreign investors to really support those businesses. One more thing that we do to support startups is business events. And I would like to share with you an event that we're doing actually in December. The flyer that you're going to see is still like in the works, so it's not the final version, but I wanted to make sure that you know about it because it's something that we try to do to keep business owners inspired and dreaming big to see what the potentials are for their businesses. So this is an event that we're doing in December. The plan is to have it on December 10th till the 12th. So it's a workshop series that we're going to have 2 hours every day, and it focuses on dreaming bigger. So sometimes as a business owner, you get overwhelmed with all the challenges that you face. You wear so many hats, and sometimes as you work on so many details in your business, you lose the inspiration to actually look long-term and dream bigger. And this is for you if that's something that you're looking for. It's very inspirational, and we can share the information with you, once we have the flyer finalized. So I want to make sure that if you would like to know more about this, please give me your business card, and I'll make sure that I send you the information about it. But a better way to actually know about this event and many other events is to actually subscribe to our newsletter. So all you have to do is go to our website, go to economic development, and right in that landing page, you would see Get Our Business e-newsletter. Once you subscribe, you get information about this event and so many other events that you organize at the city. And you also might learn about future opportunities about doing business with the city. But I'm going to leave that to Jennifer to cover because that's her area. And with that, I would like to introduce Jennifer, who's going to do an overview of what you need to know about doing business with our city so you have a better chance of winning contracts with our city as well as our department. So, Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jennifer. I'm the Purchasing and Contracts Coordinator for the City of Murrieta. So basically what that means, and the first thing to understand that will help you trying to get a contract with the City of Murrieta is that we are a decentralized city. So what that means is each department has staff dedicated to purchasing. So I'm not out there purchasing everything for police and engineering. They all have staff that's dedicated to doing that. But I am the centralized person that provides oversight to all of their purchasing, and I assist them with all the purchasing that they do. So if you want to do business with library or parks or anybody like that, I'm going to be the first person you talk to, and I'm going to make sure that you get in touch with the best person for the commodities or the services that you're providing. Okay. So, looking at this, full transparency, these are the purchasing requirements for the City of Murrieta. Things that I think will help you guys understand in winning contracts with us is, if you notice in each of these categories, commodities, which are goods and supplies, services, and then public works, is that our bidding starts at $5,000. So that means if we're going to purchase anything that falls below that, we don't have to go out to bid. We just need to make contact with you. You need to provide us with a quote or a proposal, and we can start doing business with you. If you notice, let's jump ahead to the next biggest threshold, which is here we go. For commodities, it is $75,000. For services, it's $75,000. And let's start there. That is a formal bidding process. If you're looking to win a contract with us and you're going to be spending more than $75,000, then we are going to do a formal bid, which means you're going to find it online. If you're doing construction, do we have any construction companies in here? Okay, one. So we're on Planet Bids. That's where we're going to put all of our formal bids. If you're doing services or commodities that are large projects as well, you're going to find those bids on our city website. Now, everything between $5,000 and $75,000 is like an informal process, which means that we are only required to get 3 competing bids. How do you be one of those people to give us those bids? Well, it's not that easy because we're not required to go online or to do anything in particular other than to reach out to 3 people and ask. So it's your job to try to start a relationship with us through a different couple of ways. We're going to do or provide services over $15,000. We're going to ask you to sign a contract with us and provide insurance. So that's something to know that once you start getting up there, there's going to be a little bit more involved. We're going to be getting lawyers involved. We're going to have a contract that we're going to have to sign, and we're going to ask you to provide proof of insurance. Other than that, we're just going to have terms and conditions and a purchase order. I think we're good there, but if you do have any questions, please ask. Also, if you notice, our city manager has a purchasing authority that goes up to $75,000 for services and $100,000 for goods. So if you've got a large contract with us, that means we're going to city council to get approval to work with you, which is going to be probably a month or 2 months longer than you would have expected. Did you have a question?
Yes, for your services and public works, actually 2 questions. Do you require a bond? And the second question is, what dollar value do you require the bond at if you do require a bond?
So we go by state regulations for the bond. I'd have to look that up, but I'll give you my card before we get here. We just recently, like literally in the last month, increased all of our thresholds. So city manager's authority went from 50 to 75. We were on our own public works thresholds. We've just aligned with the state. So I can look into that and I'll get your information. I'll get it for you. But I believe it's 200,000, but I'll double check that. As far as other things like services, that's really at our own discretion. If we feel like it's a high-risk project and we want to put in some bonds, then we'll make that choice. If it's public works, it's the state regulatory thresholds. Okay, next. Okay, so how do you try to make contact with us? Well, if you're doing construction, actually, I'll say this. For all of you guys, I would suggest registering with Planet Bids, even if you're not in construction. It doesn't cost any money. The only time you would ever be asked to spend money on Planet Bids is if you are actually bidding on a really large multi-million-dollar construction project. Then there might be a fee in submitting a bid. But other than that, just registering does not cost any money. And what we do is I maintain that list. Sorry, let me get some water. This mask is really dry out right now. Okay, so Planet Bids. We don't put all of our bids on there, but we do kind of use it as like a database for all of our vendors. So a lot of times, police department will come and they'll say, you know, we want to purchase, we're going to get a painter, or we're going to put some carpet in, or we want to purchase a vehicle. Who do we work with? And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just go to Planet Bids and I'll do a search and I'll pull and I'll say, these are all people that want to do business with us. Start here. So he's not required to go through Planet Bids, but we do use it kind of as a database to house all the people that want to do business with us that we know they're interested in us. But a second way to do that is that we do have a text message notification system. So anytime we put a large bid online, that might not be going to Planet Bids because it's not construction, but we are putting it online because it's over 75,000. You'll get a notification that a large bid is out there for you to come look at. So that's another way. And okay, so we also have, if your business is located in Murrieta, we do have a local vendor preference. And this is for all bidding that's going to low bid, so it's mostly for commodities. So let's just say we're looking to purchase 5 laptops, and we send out 3 quotes. And one of those quotes come back from a business in Murrieta. What we will do is we'll take his bid and we will lower it by 3% and then do a comparison. So if you are, at that 3%, if you drop below and become that low bid, you're going to win that award, even though technically you're like the second lowest person. And that's all because you actually you reside in Murrieta. So that is available to any Murrieta business owners. Okay. So these are just like the top parts of some of the forms just to get used to seeing them. So this one in the middle, that's the local vendor preference form. If you get a bid, a lot of times that's an attachment. You'll be asked to fill it out if you're a local vendor. Or if you say, hey, I'm a local vendor, and you want us to apply that 3% advantage, they might send you over a form like that and ask you to fill it out so we could certify that you're really a local vendor. The top and the bottom, I know you're familiar with the W-9, but the top and the bottom are the two documents that we require in order to register you as vendors to do business with us. But we will only get to that once we've actually decided to do business with you. So if we're all ready to go, you've won a bid, we're going to purchase from you, at that point what you're going to be asked is give us a W-9, and we're going to send you a vendor information form. It's that top one. It's your basic information. We're going to say fill this out just so we can put you into our database and we can issue you guys the check after you guys provide us the service.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
For the part where it says bidders request a 3% local vendor preference,
Mm-hmm.
once you apply the 3% and it knocks you down to probably being a lower bid, is that the amount that you have to stay at?
No, your bid is the bid you put in.
Okay.
We just drop it down as the comparison. That's the advantage that you guys get. And so those are the two docs that we'll ask you to go ahead and fill out, and we'll register you as a Murrieta business. It takes a few days just to do that. It's a pretty fast process. I think that might be it. So another thing I wanted to tell you guys about is, so before I came here, I did go around all the departments. I asked, does anybody have any upcoming bids, anything coming out? And the police department do have a building remodel that they're getting ready to bid out. It's a fairly small construction project, but it will go out on Planet Bids. And then also our Public Works Department will be putting out a bid probably sometime in the next year. We're looking to bring on like an on-call plumber, an on-call electrician, and an on-call architecture consultant. So those are some larger upcoming bids, but we're purchasing on a daily basis. So if any of you guys after this have an opportunity to come up and give me your business cards, or if you have any information that you have, what I'll do then is I go back to the city, I take a look at what it is that you guys offer, and then I go to each of those departments and those people in those departments that are purchasing the items that you're selling or the services that you're providing, and I talk to them one-on-one, and I say, I just met this person, here's their information. Next time you go out to bid or next time you're ready to purchase, please consider this person. And then they have their own method of maintaining all their vendors within their department. And that's the best way for you to make contact with the right people at the city and get ready to do business with us. Does anybody have any other questions?
I
Yeah.
have one. The other certifications that are at the state level, like the DVBE, the NBE, and all that, you do not consider those. You only consider if the business is local, you give that 3%, but nothing else apply from the state level, talking about the city.
That is correct. However, I'm ready to sign, the reciprocity agreement, and we have engaged in it in the past, and I think it's just something we need to re-sign the agreement, and I need to start making sure we're all educated in all of our departments and we're all implementing that program. So shortly, it'll be in place.
So in the quote process for the products, for the payment piece of it, is there any payment acceleration for small businesses once the products have been supplied?
No, we're on a net 30, but we're on time and things process pretty quick. It hardly ever takes 30 days. We have a weekly check run, so we're getting checks out to our vendors on a weekly basis.
Jennifer, when is that police department remodel building?
I would say they probably will have the bid out within the next 3 months. That's generous, probably a month from now.
Sorry. So is it for bids over like 15,000 you require an insurance from the service industry? Like we offer printing, promotional items, web design. If we get to that level of bidding, what type of insurance is it that you're talking about?
So if you're providing a commodity, no insurance. Okay, so you mentioned something in there that sounded like goods. We wouldn't require insurance for that. For everything below 15,000, and this is what that 15,000 threshold, what I was describing is if you're below 15,000, usually what we'll do is we'll issue you a purchase order, and on that purchase order will contain the city's terms and conditions, including our insurance requirements, which are, I believe, 15 million. Under 15,000, it's going to be $1 million general, $1 million auto, and $1 million professional or workers' comp as well. Okay, but we're not collecting your insurance. We're just saying this is what our requirements are. Above 15,000, our insurance requirements do go up. They're 2 for general, 4 for the aggregate, I think 2 for professional, 4 for the aggregate, 2 for auto, workers' comp. I know we have some endorsements we require. They're pretty hefty requirements. However, that being said, depending on what you're offering and the risk and the liability, we are flexible, and there's times where if you're a business owner and you don't have any employees, we'll obviously remove the workers' comp. You know, if you're not driving, we can remove the auto. We can lower the professional. If you're providing IT, we're going to request cyber liability. And then those limits might go up or down depending just on the nature of the services that you're providing. So we do have room to lower requirements if it helps you, but we also have room to increase them if we need to as a city. Anybody else? If anything comes up, I'll be here. I have my business card. That's my job, is to give you guys this information. So once I leave, I'm going back to my desk to continue answering these questions for you guys. So just give me a call. Okay? Thank you.
I'm getting a signal that I did not unmute myself. All right. So this is meant to be a really informal presentation, just how to do business with the County of San Diego, and also to give you guys a sense of what kinds of things we buy and how we make those purchases. So that way you can assess and determine if we're the right customer for you. So please stop me at any time with any questions that you might have, because I want to make sure that this is interactive and informative, and we're answering the questions that you need answers so you can better make that assessment. So the County of San Diego, we're organized into 4 groups. We have over 40 departments, probably well over 40 at this point. We had a practically brand new board of supervisors that was put in place on this January. That's because recently County of San Diego voted in term limits rather, so we had a significant change in our board, and with that, we have a lot of new offices, a lot of new departments, and all of them need staff, they need supplies, they need consultants, they need things to get up and running. So there's a lot of opportunities for new programs and services that we might not have offered in the past. But overall, the county is organized in these 4 main groups. We have the Health and Human Services Agency. They provide a lot of social and health services, as the name implies. You'll find there the Public Health Services Department, behavioral mental health, child welfare services, self-sufficiency, aging independent services, all part of Health and Human Services Agency. FG3 is our finance and general government. That's internal, so that'll be like the auditor and controller, the accountants, purchasing, those kind of internal functions, general services for the facilities, those kind of things. LUGE is the land use and environment group, so parks and recreation, land use permitting, planning development services. The libraries are also in there too. They're kind of like the oddball that didn't fit anywhere, so they kind of went to LUGE. Don't tell them I said that about them, but they're under LUGE as well because they're all over the county. And then, of course, we have the public safety group, so that would be sheriff, probation, our jail detention systems, DA's part of that group. So County of San Diego provides a broad array of services and has a really wide range of departments and things that we do. So with that, our purchasing needs are also complex and diverse, and we buy a lot of things. Now, that brings us to this chart, which gives you an idea of what the county purchases in a year. So in our last fiscal year, 2021, our procurement spend for that 1 year was just over $2 billion. It was a really big year. Just to give you context, the year before that, our purchasing spend was at 1.5, so we jumped $500 million in 1 year. A lot of that had to do with COVID-related costs, obviously all the testing, the nursing staff. So a lot of it was one time. However, our budget's actually forecasted to increase for this fiscal year, and we're anticipating that our procurement spend is going to be even higher, and so far it's on track. So the county, a lot of governments are in the same boat where we're in a bit of a period of expansion with more services and more attention to social services, and that's coming from a lot of different sources, whether that's local, state, or federal. So we're anticipating that in the future, we're gonna have our procurement spend is going to continue to increase. Now, this pie chart is meant to give you like just a general overview of where we do buy things. So you'll see just about half of our spend is in health and social services, which makes sense. We provide a lot of those services, and we work a lot with our community-based organizations and local healthcare providers to provide those services, since the county isn't going to run all that in-house. For San Diego County, we don't have our own hospital system, unlike, say, like LA County, which is sometimes some folks consider that unusual. So a lot of our health services, if not all, are contracted out to local providers. So that's part of why you see such a big spend there. Another big area of spend for us is IT, and I don't know why training was lumped in there. We might break that out separate, but most of that is actually IT. For the County of San Diego, our entire IT function is actually contracted out. So they're Peraton now. They've gone through quite a few name changes and acquisitions and stuff, so I always get them a little bit mixed up. But today, it's Peraton. I can't guarantee you 3 months from now it'll be the same group, but all that's contracted out as one giant package. But however, we do, when it comes to custom IT needs, so if a department needs a software developed or maybe a module developed that plugs into the state software, something like that, we actually have a choice. So sometimes we can go through our IT contractor, Peraton, because it may be more efficient for us to just have them do that, but we also have a choice to run that procurement ourselves centrally. So you're gonna see opportunities both with Peraton and from us directly, and it really just depends on what it is that we need and where we think the expertise is. If we think Peraton's gonna have folks that are gonna get us a better deal, or if our staff really understands the software needs or those kind of things better. But the day-to-day things, so like computers, our network, things like that all is gonna go through our IT contractor. Another big area spend, obviously construction. So the county has, I asked General Services, it's well over 100 facilities throughout the county. So between all our leased properties, the properties that we own, it's a lot. And all of those need development, or they need to be remodeled or refreshed from time to time. So we do spend quite a bit on construction in any given year. It's not our biggest area of spend necessarily, but it's still quite a big chunk of change when you look at just that number. I mean, 270 million a year is a lot. And we do have a lot of projects that are underway and getting started, so that are coming in the future as well. Just some other areas, we have a fairly large vehicle and fleet. It looks small in the pie, but that's just because other things are dwarfing it because we spend so much in health and social services. Our facilities maintenance costs, so with all those facilities, There's a lot of maintenance, janitorial services, landscaping, et cetera, and obviously consumables, so all of our supplies and things that we just need to run our programs. Now, our spend is big, so normally it's 25%, around 25 to 30% of our total budget. Actually, next year's, or this current fiscal year's budget for the County of San Diego is $7 billion. So we are anticipating a fairly large procurement spend. Basically, the message is, if you sell it, chances are someone somewhere in the County of San Diego buys it. I've been to a lot of these outreach events, and the only time, so someone's being cheeky with me and we're playing this game, like, think of something that County of San Diego doesn't buy. So far, the only thing that they've been able to come up with, or folks have been able to come up with, is we don't buy missiles. Someone asked me that, I was like, okay, rest assured, County of San Diego is not buying missiles or heavy weaponry, but pretty much everything else that folks have come up with, there is a department somewhere or office somewhere in the county that needs it. So there's a lot of opportunity here. Now this, yeah.
I have a question about
Sure.
Peraton and the IT.
Yes.
Are you saying Peraton is contracted to, and all IT goes to them, and do they contract out? Or
Correct.
Are they provided?
They do both. So all of our IT is contracted Peraton, and there are Peraton IT staff that sit with us in some of our locations and facilities, and they manage like the help desk. They run the catalog for all of our computers, phones, just like normal kind of items. Actually, I take that back, not the phones, that's separate, but like our normal IT items, and just like the standard suite of software that you might need that is generally offered, those are all through Peraton. Now, they will often subcontract out specific things. So for example, a lot of our departments, where it usually comes into play is some of our departments have a specific need. They need to develop some kind of software that does who knows what, like tracks their client base. Maybe they have a new program that they need a tracking tool, something along those lines. And the department has a choice. They can run their own procurement, well, not their own, but through the Department of Purchasing and Contracting. So the county runs the procurement for that separately, or they can go through Peraton, and Peraton will then find a subcontractor that can provide that software solution. So as an example, our Department of Purchasing and Contracting, we recently purchased a software solution for our internal contract administration tracking. So we have, I don't know, over 1,000 contracts at more than 1,000 contracts. So we purchased a solution for the county for county contract administrators to use. We actually went through Peraton and had Peraton run a procurement to find the appropriate solution provider or the software provider. Does that make sense? So we have a choice. It can go both ways. Usually it's for specialized software that gets subcontracted out. For the normal kind of things like just like day-to-day IT needs, that's primarily handled by Peraton, and I don't know the inner workings of who their suppliers are necessarily. Yeah.
So is it done on a case-by-case basis? Like, is there like a
Correct.
that you follow when you do it?
It is done case by case, and it's up to each department, the requesting department, which route they prefer. And usually what it comes down to is what kind of expertise they think they need. So like if I'm Parks and Recreation, maybe I'm developing a tool that helps people register for activities or something like that, or something that's probably not that complicated, but something more complex, and I need a specialized software for that kind of purpose. So as Parks and Rec, I'm gonna make the assessment. If I go through Peraton obviously has more IT expertise than the Parks and Rec department. So if it's a software I think we're gonna need that additional expertise and we think Peraton is better suited to handle it, then they're gonna get it. Now, other departments, maybe the program design or that understanding the program needs or the requirements, maybe there's an oversight agency that has very specific requirements. I think it's more important for us to control that procurement and handle all the specifications. Not that Peraton wouldn't be following the specifications to provide, but just depends on what you want to weight more. Then we may do the procurement ourselves. Other times there may be a question of timing. So county procurements tend to take a little bit longer because whether it's a question of getting authority, it goes through a process. Now we're all centralized, so everything goes through department purchasing. So if you're the department, kind of lose that control because it goes through our process internally. Peraton can tend to be a little bit quicker because they're a private business that doesn't have to go to our board of supervisors necessarily for a large procurement. So sometimes timing is a question as well. So there's different factors that the department consider, but the department has a choice if they want to run for those kind of IT solutions, if they want to run their own procurement or if it goes through Peraton. That's a very good question.
So
Yeah.
it's $368 million that you're doing IT and training.
Yeah.
That's not really the business, that's Peraton. And then Peraton decides what they want to do.
Correct. So most of that is going to be the Peraton cost. Yes, and that is because we have a mega contract with them. It's a very, very large. Yes, and then there's sub parts of that contract, whether it's the day-to-day IT and then other things that we're procuring through them.
Okay,
Yeah.
that answers, because I do a lot of business in Los Angeles and
Yeah.
San Francisco, but San Diego, I don't do it because I don't really see much in San Diego.
That is probably why, is because our entire IT function is subcontracted out. And my understanding is that's fairly unusual, I think, for a large public agency. So that's probably why, because it is all subcontracted to Peraton. That used to be Perspective, that used to be something else, and then HPE. So not only is it subcontracted out, you'd have to keep up with who it is currently, because they keep getting acquired and reacquired and spun out. I don't even know. So that's probably why. Yeah. Yes.
My question is then, a gentleman like
Yeah.
him, who would he contact in San Diego? Your people or the Paradigm?
So it'd be so you would need both. And I'll show you where you want to register for us to find out about those opportunities. And we are working, so Peraton's relatively new. They just changed in or basically acquired. So I'm working on getting a point of contact there to find out about any of their opportunities and when they do run a procurement for us. Yeah, so I'll give you our information, and obviously so you'll know for anything that we're running on our side. Yeah. But yeah.
Why you came?
Yeah.
Contract.
Yeah, it's a massive, massive contract. So our procurement methods, so I mentioned before, County of San Diego centralized purchasing, meaning pretty much everything runs through the Department of Purchasing contract, with the exception of P-card purchases. So if it's under $2,500, the departments themselves, they have purchase cards, credit cards, and they can just run it themselves, and they don't go through purchasing, because that would be insane, every small minor purchase. But everything else that you see, anything above $2,500, pretty much runs through the Department of Purchasing and Contracting. Now, the simplified procurement methods are the ones you see on your left, right. Sorry, flipped. I was like reverse. But either way, so the P-card and the request for quotes, those are simplified procurement methods, just meaning generally they tend to be less complex. Obviously, the credit card is going to be the least complex. Request for quotes is a less complex process. It's going to be quicker. So when you're assessing, hey, do I want to bid for a county contract or not, how much time it takes that you have to invest just in that application process is something to consider. An RFQ may be more feasible, especially to start with, because it's going to be less complex. It's generally going to be faster. So that's something you want to consider in your kind of when you're deciding whether or not something's if it's worth investing the time to do this. Versus the formal competitively negotiated processes. Now, we listed all of them. The most common are the top two. The request for bid, which means it's just based on price, and that's primarily for goods or something with a very specific specification. And then request for proposal, that's going to be the most complex. That's going to be for services, something more complex, where we're asking you a lot of questions about how you're going to approach whatever it is that we're looking to buy. Now, I know it's mentioned before some preferences. County of San Diego does have a 5% price preference on RFP, so the request for bid and the request for proposals. But to qualify for that, you must have a physical location within San Diego County, and you need to be certified as either a small business with the state DGS or as a veteran-owned business. So both. So you have to both be physically located in San Diego County, and you have to be certified as either a small business or veteran-owned business or disabled veteran, but I'm kind of categorizing those all together. But with that, you do get a 5% price preference, which has come into play more often than we initially thought, because we just implemented this back in 2020. So it does make a difference, especially on bids where there's tight margins. Yeah, it will make the difference for that business if they're able to get that competitive edge. Yes.
So the 5% for being a San Diego business, and you have to be on DGS in order to do that.
Correct.
So under DGS, do you do the veteran-owned and the small business, the small business enterprise for the smaller businesses?
Correct. So you just need one of them. You don't need all of them. So DGS offers 2 certification kind of categories. So there's the small business certifications, and I think there's like some sub certifications, but that general category. So if you have any one of those, that will check that box for you. Or you can be a DVBE, the Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise, also a certification that state DGS operates. That would also qualify. The USVA, Department of Veteran Affairs, also has 2 veteran-owned business certifications. Those also qualify. So any of those would basically check that box. But you don't need all of them. You just need any one of them. Any one of those certifications, plus you have a physical location somewhere in San Diego County, and that's what you need to qualify for the 5%.
But that's
Yes.
for the formal or for the simplified too?
Only for the formal and only for the request for bids and the request for proposals. So only those 2 categories actually. Unfortunately, it does not qualify for the request for quotes. Yeah, for the smaller ones. Or the P-card one. Yeah. Okay. Now, I should have made this slide red or something. If there's nothing else you take away, this is probably the most important slide of the entire presentation. So I would take a photo, and we made a giant QR code, which I tested, and it works. So you may as well take the photo and have the link on your phone. Or I did also put the text link just in case the QR code doesn't work. But this is our vendor portal. It's just for County of San Diego. It's 100% free. You never have to pay anything to register or to look at our bids or to submit a bid or proposal. But it is very, very important to register. And not that I'm encouraging cell phone use while we're talking, but I am encouraging cell phone use while we're talking. So you can even do it while I'm chatting. And then if you have questions and you can't figure it out, you can let me know after. We're more than happy to help. Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know, I looked up Peraton. They just
Yeah.
finished their acquisition of that other company. They do have a supplier diversity link on there. And if you're looking to get into doing business with the county, Peraton subcontracts 54% of their business to small businesses. And they have a lot of diversified portfolios like HubZone, Veteran-owned, Women-owned. And they have a link on their website if you go to Peraton.com, support@globalalarms.com if you want to become a vendor. They also have a mentor protege program.
Very nice.
Probably a lot easier than trying to do thread business with the county.
Yes, because Peraton has so much of it, and I really appreciate that. Yes. So no. That's perfect. Yeah, because Peraton holds. I mean, we contract out all. That's IT. So, but there are a lot of small business providers I know that are IT consultants, do a specialized aspect. But since we contract out the whole package, then you don't have a lot of direct avenues. So, yeah. So thank you. Really appreciate that.
And that falls up under the umbrella of OT also, operational technology.
But they don't just do
Yes. Yeah.
They're also providing management support services on that contract as well with the county.
Yes, but so depends what, I mean, IT related, yes. Because it's like, I mean, think of it this way. It's like our IT department's almost non-existent. It's like a handful of people because the entire department got contracted out. So yes, to the extent that you would need that management that's also communicating with us, if that makes sense. So yes, so it's like the entire department basically got contracted out is the way to kind of look at it. Yeah. Okay. So going back to this BINET, most important slide in the entire deck, if nothing else, make sure you get registered. We use our registration, even if you're not actively looking to submit, we use our registration list for outreach notifications as well. So for subcontracting opportunities, maybe other free services that we learn about, we send it all out to our BINET list. So I would say it's very important to register if you're interested in finding out about any of those. And we're getting more and more active with promoting our subcontracting opportunities, because that's a direction that San Diego County is really pushing, is that we're engaging our private contractors to be more thoughtful about their subcontracting and building it into the contract requirements. So there's going to be more and more of those opportunities coming out. So I strongly recommend registering for that list, even if you're not intending to apply for or submit a bid for a County of San Diego solicitation in the immediate future. Okay. This one less important, but it looks like snazzy also. For us, for County of San Diego, we post all of our contracts online, so that way you can see every single contract that the county has. So if there's one, if you want to see the IT contract, you can technically pull it, but it might crash your computer because I think it's more than 1,000 pages long. So, but it's there. So this link will take you to our contract search tool. All contracts going back to, I think, 2014, I think when we first implemented it, basically, are available. So you can see all of our terms and conditions, our insurance requirements, everything's there. So if there's like a particular service that you're interested in and you want to see, like, do you currently have a contract? And if you do, what are the terms, which department's using it, et cetera. This is a really nice tool to be able to do that research and kind of browse through our contracts and see what it is that we do and find those specifics and do your research. And the other nice thing is, maybe you're looking for a subcontracting opportunity and you think, hey, County of San Diego, I'm pretty sure they contract with someone, and I think I would be a good subcontractor. All of our contracts have both a point of contact for the county, so the person in the county who's administering that contract, as well as a point of contact for the contractor side, who's the other person that manages that contract for the company. So it's a nice way to get their phone number if maybe you want to reach out. That's one way to do it without, upsetting the department heads, because sometimes folks will just email the big boss and you're like, oh, maybe that wasn't the best move. This is a much better way to actually get in contact or find the person that knows about the contract and is able to answer any questions that you have. All right, so just some closing thoughts, other things. So again, please register on BuyNet if you haven't done so already. That is all, since we are centralized, all of our solicitations are posted there. There's no other source except for P-Card, but those aren't posted. So make sure you register on BuyNet. Just a few tips where we see small businesses run into trouble is make sure you read the entire solicitation. So I know, especially the RFP packages, they're long, and we've worked to try to narrow it down, but sometimes they are just long because there are a lot of oversight requirements from the state or federal program where it's coming from, so we have to include all that language. But it is so important that you actually go through it, because somewhere on page 30, there's a mandatory form, and then you didn't sign it, and your entire proposal gets disqualified before we even look at it because you didn't sign that page, and that is the worst feeling for us. And there's not much we can do about it because we need to keep the process fair for everyone, so we can't make an exception for you even if when we truly, truly want to. And I've seen that happen time and time again. So make sure you're taking the time to go through all the pages and that you're responding to all the requirements. So for our requests for proposals, they're score-based. So, and we will tell you the weight of each section, so that way when you're responding, you know, hey, this section is worth 10%, 30%, whatever the case may be, so you know when we're scoring how that's going to happen and what it specifically is that we're looking for. So we have submittal requirements that say, we want you to tell us X, Y, Z. And when the team's scoring, that's how they're scoring. They're looking, did you have X, did you have Y, and did you have Z? And if you did, you're going to get that score. If you don't, you don't get any points. Don't assume that the price is always the high score. On the RFPs I've been on, so far, price has never been actually more than half, if ever. It's not weighted, oftentimes it's not weighted as highly as you think. So you might come in and be like, wait, I was able to offer this at the lowest price, but someone who maybe is offering price that's significantly higher than what I came in for an RFP is gonna win because maybe price was only weighted 20% because we cared so much about the other variables in the actual program design itself or whatever else was being scored in there. So just make sure you're cognizant of that and you're paying attention when you submit. Now on that line, I know one of the struggles that a lot of small businesses have when they're first starting government contracting, aside from some of the minimum requirements, is just the amount of time you have to invest to get into government contracting because our submittal requirements are so long. So my advice there is please, you will do better if you just pick the one or two that you're best suited for and make sure you answer those thoroughly and fully than trying to pick a lot of them that you are sort of qualified for and getting an average score. Because remember, only the top score is gonna win that contract. So you're much better off putting your time and energy into a very, very good proposal than trying to spread out all your time submitting a lot of mediocre proposals because being average or coming in the middle doesn't win you any contracts. Does that make, I don't know, hopefully that makes sense, but those are some things I've seen where small business struggle and you're like, oh, they would have been really good, except you can tell they didn't have enough time to answer as fully as maybe they want to. Now on our end, we're working really hard with our departments to make sure we're allowing enough time so that you have time to answer fully and to be prepared, and that's on us to make sure that we're allowing those solicitations to be up as long as possible. But I just want to make sure that you guys are as competitive as you can be when you're applying, and these are some of the things we've observed. And then make sure every single solicitation, when you go into BuyNet, there is a buyer that's assigned to that particular solicitation. So they are the expert for that. Their phone number and their email is in BuyNet with that solicitation. So if you have any questions at all, maybe about the specifications, the process, whatever, make sure you reach out to their buyer, because that is their job, to make sure that you are informed and you understand exactly what it is that we're asking for and what it is that you're submitting a bid or a proposal on. So use that resource, because that's what they're there for, and they want to answer your questions beforehand, because the last thing we want is your questions and the answer, and then we find out afterwards, and then at that point there's nothing we can do. And with that, yeah.
Just add one thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
On that, if you're talking to someone about a specific solicitation, do it by email, not by phone.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because then you have written documentation of whatever the correspondence was.
Yeah.
Phone call has nothing when you are presented in a protest.
Correct. So yes, that is the smart way to go. So I mean, if you just have a quick question that's not going to make an impact, you know, like just something minor, a phone call might be quicker. But yes, email is generally better. I mean, it's better for the buyers too, because remember, they're not just working on that one solicitation. All buyers are juggling multiple at any given time. So just, you're human and you might not remember everything that happened in a phone call, but an email is like something they can refer back to. So that is a very smart approach. If you can, yes, email, I would also recommend that, just because yes, you have a document trail, and it's also easier sometimes on the buyers, especially if it's something very specific. Yeah. Yes.
Do the contracting officers have any small business requirements on the contracts they award within the county?
We do not. So we are part of our senior regional EDC, or Economic Development Corporation. They formed a collaborative with a lot of the major public institutions, looking at setting region-wide goals that would apply to all of us. So we're part of that, but we don't currently have minimum goals for small businesses or veteran-owned businesses, but I imagine the direction that we're heading is at some point in the future we will. But we're doing it as part of a collaborative that's going to cover, I think for San Diego, may cover multiple agencies, not just us.
Okay. Yeah. And then with the passing of the Build Back Better plan,
yeah.
Does the county have any projections on the funding that they'll be receiving for that, and the areas that funding will be?
I don't know. So that would be our finance or Office of Financial Planning I would assume they would, but that's not something that I would know in purchasing. So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I imagine yes, that they have their eye on what's going, but I don't know if a lot of details have been released yet to know how it's going to come down to the counties yet. But the message, word on the street is there's a lot of things being passed, and eventually the money makes it to us, because local government's who's actually implementing things. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I have my business card. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to come by, and thank you. Yeah.
And can you hear me? All right. I said before I start, let's everyone get up, go get a cup of coffee, go use the bathroom, okay? And we'll be back at 1:15, okay? I've done too many of these. Yes, sir.
George Rapso at 7 Talk.
Oh, George,
How are you, man?
I'm doing well.
All right.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm just here now.
get that donut.
I figure I might as well. I hope Karen wins.
That's right. You've earned your keep. Okay, if everyone could please take your seats, we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Wayne Gross, Oakland A's MVP 1982. What? There is a Wayne Gross MVP 1982. I'm the poor state worker. I'm a business outreach liaison with the Department of General Services. And there is my email address, waynd.gross@dgs.ca.gov. We had to change it because in the last 6 months I got hacked 5 times. And our ETS department said, Wayne, we got to change. And so it used to be Wayne.Gross, and so we added my middle initial. So WayneD.Gross@dgs.ca.gov. And I have a new phone number because we use Teams. Every day at 7 o'clock I have to type in good morning. Right? And on Friday I change it up and I put TGIF. Right? So, but anyway, that's my new number. 279-946-8387. It's so new, I haven't memorized it yet. So, okay, 279-946-8387. So, today we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about our state contracts register, where the formal solicitations are. We're going to be probably talking most important about updating and improving your profile. And there's a typo because it should say profiles, plural, because you have 2. You have a public access one where you give whoever your supplier ID number or your company name, and it pulls up your profile. Okay, that's for the public. Then if you log in and click on your notifications page, that is your private profile, and that's where you set up so you can get solicitations. Next, we will talk about Skippers, our state contract and procurement registration system. That is where all of the completed solicitations are, all the way back through December 2015. We'll be talking about your new best friends. Those are the advocates. We'll be talking about reciprocity. And as you found out, San Diego is a current reciprocity partner. And hopefully I get the city of Marina Valley and Marietta rather, as reciprocity partners too, okay? So that we can all do this together, okay? So if I am a buyer in Marietta, okay, they can go to our database, find, let's say, painters, and you get this giant Excel spreadsheet of all the painters in California. As an expert in Excel, you'll do a sort by zip code, okay? And then you look at your zip code and you find the 10 painters in the local area. That's how simple it'll be for you guys, okay? California Multiple Award Schedule. That is CMAS. I bring this to your attention. The feds have a program called GSA. And I'm going to show you how you can use their system to get a CMAS contract. I'm going to show you some dashboards. People want to know what agencies are buying, okay? And then we're going to talk about commercially useful function. Basically, these are the rules that you are to, you're supposed to abide by. And if you don't, you can get penalized monetarily and get kicked out of doing state contracts. And the thing is, if a county finds out that you can't do state contracts, right, and they are a reciprocity partner, guess what? you can't do business with them either. So it's a big thing, okay? And then the last thing is we have an emergency registration because of COVID and the fires. We want small business and DVB participation. What happens in an emergency, the buyer basically can kick the database out. And we're going, no. There are small businesses and DVBEs who can work in an emergency situation. And so I'll talk about that. And then finally, some resources that are there. So, how to do a search. Okay, this is caliprocure.ca.gov. This is our homepage. If you haven't made it a favorites, go home and make it one. That way you never have to type in Cali Procure ever again. And then on the top it says quick links. And when we do the little white triangle, it gives you 4 options. And the first one is our CSCR, Finding Current Solicitations. And this is our search engine. There are 3 ways that you can find a solicitation. Number 1 is on the far left, the event name. This is putting in a keyword, paint, mouse. And when I'm talking about a mouse, I'm talking about a computer mouse, not a rodent, right? Yeah. Keep that in mind because you may put in mouse and you get the rodent instead of the computer mouse, okay? The second is event ID, if you happen to know the actual solicitation number. And then the last is by department. And you'll notice to the right are 3 black lines. And this gives you a list of all the departments, okay? Unfortunately, it's numeric. It is not alphabetical, okay? We didn't design this, right? So we just have to go with the flow. And just remember that if you're looking for Caltrans, you'll never find it on this list because it's under Department of Transportation. Just like Calvet, Department of Veterans Affairs. So I'm going to put in an event ID. It just makes it easy. And then I hit search, and here's the results. Okay? And so I want to download it. And this is what a solicitation quote looks like. On the far left, you will notice it's got the ID, it's got the format type, when it was published, and it gives you a general description. So it gives you an idea. You want to open it up to get more information. In the middle, it has the end date and time. Every solicitation, be it state, federal, or local, will have a time date, okay, when this is going to end. And you see on this example, it says the 15th of February at exactly 2 p.m. Now I'm going to give you a loaded question, okay? I call up the contact person, and Bob actually gave me his phone number, okay? It's a general question. Hey, Bob, I can't meet this 2 o'clock. I can't be up in the office, okay? Can I fax it to you? He goes, yeah, no problem, Wayne. So he gives me his fax number, right? So 5 minutes till, I start the fax, okay? And it ends at 2 minutes after, okay? Is that a valid quote?
No.
No? Well, I started at 5 till, but it's when it ends. Okay, so everyone remember that. It is the end time, okay? Too many people get caught off guard on that one. The third column, the first is the event package. These will be all the download information. You can post a vendor ad. You can post an ad on any solicitation in our database as long as you're certified as a small business and or DVBE. And then you can view the ads, okay? And then we have the contact information. Like I said, this is the exception where there's an actual phone number. 99% of the buyers will not, I repeat, will not give you their phone number. And it's for your protection, okay? because of what I asked in the last section, right, with San Diego. You want written confirmation of your conversation. Because if, for example, I email Bob Fisher and I say, Bob, there is something wrong with the solicitation, okay? And he says, Wayne, you are absolutely right. I need to change it. Well, it goes by, he doesn't change it, right? It gets awarded to someone, right? Well, I protested, okay? So we're in front of the judge and the judge says, what's going on? And I said, I contacted Mr. Fisher about this solicitation. He agreed that there was something wrong and he was going to change it and post it. But he never did, and he awarded it to Joe Blow over here. And the judge says, is that right, Mr. Fisher? And he goes, yeah, unfortunately, sir, it just got away with me. And so the judge says, with the evidence provided, I win. The guy that got awarded the contract, I'm sorry, but it's being pulled, and Mr. Fisher is going to reissue the solicitation with the correct information. Okay? Hopefully, you will never have to go through that situation, but it does happen. Okay? But here again, as long as you have that email, you've got physical proof of the conversations. Okay? The next thing is pre-bid conferences. Okay? Caltrans is excellent in providing those conferences. And here's why. Okay? If you're a prime, you have to go to these mandatory pre-bid conferences. If you don't send someone from your company, you cannot bid on the solicitation. Now, with that saying, you as a sub can go also, okay? Because you know that the 8 largest construction companies are going to be there because they have to be there, right? And so at the end of the Caltrans briefing, okay, they say, okay, primes, go to your respective tables. And that's your pitch to go to each one of those tables, introduce yourself, give them your business card, give them your capability statement, okay? Because it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? Well, why not start it right there, okay? So, this is a slide of the different attachments that you would have for a contract. And it was San Diego who said, make sure that you sign every document, okay? Because the last thing you want is be disqualified and you happen to be the one who should have gotten the award because you forgot to put your John Henry on one document. That is the biggest write-up that buyers have, generally speaking, throughout the state, and obviously the county of San Diego, because it happens there too. This is the page for placing an ad. And back in the 70s, we had an expression, it was called KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? This is the easiest form you will ever fill out, okay? Look at it. Everything has a red asterisk. Your name, your email, your phone. Everyone really following that? That's not too hard, is it? Right? Okay, you got to give it a title. I would put whatever you're trying to sell, right? Response date will be the date of the solicitation. And last is the description. You're given 2,000 characters, not words, but characters. So when you start typing, it starts going 1999, 98, 97. So when you are getting down to 10, 9, 8, okay, you got to cut it off, right? So, and I always use this. Start out with your supplier ID number first, okay? And you do that so that the buyer can pull up your profile. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to go down and look at your certification. Are you current? Are you going to expire while this thing is in play, right? If you're within 90 days, you want to get recertified, okay? These are the little things that you want to do. Also, they're going to look at your profile, look at your keywords and classification codes to make sure that you say what whatever the solicitation is saying, you can do it. Okay? The last part of the solicitation are the UNSPSC codes, the United Nations Specialty Product Specialty Codes, not to be confused with the NAICS codes, North America Industry Classification System. That is the feds. Okay? So, and in this case, it gives you an 8-digit code for this solicitation. And if you have this code in your notifications profile, you got an email saying that the solicitation was out there. Okay? Any questions on this? It's pretty basic. Yes, sir?
What are the requirements for trades if you're going to compete for trade-based work with the state?
I have no idea. Okay? But what I can do is I can give you an email if you'd like to write down. Okay? It's Mark, M-A-R-C, .Anderson at dgs.ca.gov. And who the hell is he? Right? Mark happens to be the contracts manager. So if he can't answer your question, no one can. Okay? I've been doing this for 13 years now. Okay? There's a lot of things I do know, and there's a hell of a lot of stuff I don't know. But for some reason, I'm the go-to guy for the state. I get questions about anything and everything. And if nothing else, I don't sit on my laurels. If I don't know the answer, I've got enough contacts throughout the state that I can say, well, maybe I need that to send that one to Mark, and then Mark can send it off to whomever, okay? So, don't hesitate to ask me a question. The only dumb question is the one that you don't ask. Yes, ma'am?
So I'm curious about the solicitations and bidding. Do they say on the bid or the invitation to bid what the price range of, or
each one's different. Everything's different. Okay, they could do an RFP, request for price, right? And they would just give you just the specifics of what they're looking for, and then it's up to you to give them a price. It's up to you to do the research. If you are the expert, you've been selling this to the state for X amount of years, it's going to be this price, okay? But here again, there's inflation, and you want to make sure you have a profit, et cetera, et cetera. There's just so many determining factors. What I would do is we have resources that can help you. The SBDC, Small Business Development Centers, the PTACs, the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, both can help you on things like that. If you've never bid on something, or if you have bid on something and you want to get a second opinion to make sure that your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, contact each one of those agencies. They are there for free. Well, they're not for free. You already paid the services either in federal or state income tax. Okay? But yes.
So those two
SBDC. SBDC.
And then Procurement Assistance
PTAC, PTAC. And all you have to do is Google, and then like the PTACs, there's a couple here in San Diego, and it'll give you a California outline, and then you look for San Diego and you'll get the direct information. Same way with the SBDC. Any other questions? Okay, so every state agency must meet participation goals. We have a 25% aspirational goal for small business and a mandatory 3% goal for DVBE. Okay, and they can bypass posting solicitations and contact directly with small businesses and DVBEs, depending on the price. Yes, sir?
Is there a financial limit, a dollar limit for the
yeah, we'll get to it.
Okay.
Boy, a little gung-ho there, isn't he? Okay, and so to achieve these, buyers contact businesses through existing relationships, obviously, and searching businesses with keywords and UNSPSC codes. Okay, what makes a good keyword? Okay, overview of what your business offers. Okay, include synonyms and related words. For example, trucking is also under transportation or hauling. Think of searching for a book in the library, not Google. Sea crab, seafood, crab, shrimp, lobster, that kind of thing. Okay, the UNSPSC codes. Okay, it classifies products and services. And it has here an example, hospital construction services. That's an 8-digit code, okay? And it shows what can you provide, okay? And here is the hierarchy, okay? It's 8 digits, and there are 4 levels. The first level is the first 2 digits, and in this case, 1, 4, and 6 zeros for paper materials and products. Level 2 is the first 4, okay, and it's paper materials and products, paper products, okay. Then you get down to level 3, which we call the parent code, because it ends in 00. You'll be quite familiar with level 3. And level 4 is the 8-digit specific code, okay. And we use level 3 and level 4. Not 1 and 2, because 1 and 2 is just too broad. Okay. So, we're going to update your California profile, okay? But before that, I want to do a loaded question. I want everyone to stand up if you are certified as a small business or a DVBE. Please stand up. Okay, now I want everyone to be honest with me. Okay, and I want everyone to look around when I ask the question. If you can recite your supplier ID number, remain standing. No, don't look. I mean, right off the top of your head. If you can do it, yeah, look at that. Okay, you can sit down now. Show off. Okay, but the point is that number. Okay, that identifies you in our database. Okay? Just like if I asked everyone if you were certified in San Diego's database. Okay? You could recite that number too if you were dealing with people from San Diego, because they're going to look you up in their database by that supplier ID number. Okay? So, if you know your social security number, maybe your California driver's license number, now you better know your SB/DVBE number. Okay? So, okay, we go to Cal eProcure, right? And we're going to log in. And there's the user ID and password. And I log in. And you'll notice at the bottom here, this is for you seniors. I forgot my password. Okay? I've got too many passwords to remember, and once in a while I have to click that button and it'll give me a temporary password, and then the system forces you into putting in your own personal one. Okay? So, we're going to go up to the top, and there's a little white triangle to the right of your user ID, and we want to go to the Work Center, the first one. And this is what it looks like. And I'm going to view my public certification. Oh, there's that stupid supplier ID number, right, that you're going to memorize, right? First thing, it's there, right? So, anyway, so this is everything that's on your, that's there. Oops, okay. So, now, that supplier ID number is so important. There are 3 places it needs to go. First place is on your email signature block. You know, you got Wayne Gross, 707 West Sacramento, blah, 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 SB, space, pound sign, whatever the number is. It's free advertising when you're sending it to some state agency, or maybe San Diego, because they look at that, oh, they're certified with the state. I wonder if they're certified with me. Right? So they pull up my my application from, in their database. Oh, they are. I can use them. Oh, look at that. They have a San Diego local address. Duh. See how this all connects? Okay, first place was that. Second place, and it's not right, it's right here, is your website. If you have a website, it's free advertising. Okay? And the third place, which isn't on here, it's your resume, your capability statement. Okay? It should list all of your certifications and their supplier ID number. Just like this lovely lady here gave me her resume, and she has here small business certifications, and she's got all these, but she doesn't have one certification number. Okay? And the reason we do it is convenience for whoever you're giving this to. Okay? Because there may be another company that uses the same name. Okay, or whatever. That number in that database is unique to your company. Okay? Plus, it's easier for them. If I am the city of Los Angeles, if I had your number, I could pull it up just like that instead of having to go to a search. Okay? Plus, my God, you made it easier on me. Maybe, you're someone that I want to do business with because you see that that we're trying to make this as easy as possible, right? Okay, so we scroll down and up at the very top, we're going to view keywords. And you see I've got 5 words. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste these keywords into a Word document. Okay? Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to view my classifications. And you see I've got 3 of them. And so I'm going to copy and paste the classification numbers and codes into that same Word document. Okay? It's going to look like a chart or whatever. All you care about is you can read what's ever being copied. Okay? Now, do you notice here I've got 3 codes. I've got 2 good ones and 1 bad one. What do I mean by that? This is the California profile. This is what the world sees. On this page, we want the parent codes. Those are the codes that end in 00. You see, the first one and the third one are both parent codes, but the middle one ends in 05. Okay? We'd want to change that to 601-06100. Okay? Parent codes, only on this portion. So now, everyone knows the word plagiarism, right? Oh my God, it's a dirty word, right? Well, guess what? I'm going to teach you how to plagiarize. Because this is public access, okay? So there's nothing wrong with plagiarizing. I call it leveling the playing field. You're only as good as your competition, right? So steal their words. They've done the hard work. Why don't you just steal them? So that's what I'm going to do, is teach you how to do that. So we go back up to quick links. We click the second one, find a certified small business, DVBE. And we can do 2 types of searches. Okay, I had 5 keywords, right, and 3 UNSPSC codes. So I'm going to put each keyword in here, right, and do a search. Now you'll see I've got 518 results. There are 517 competitors that have the word paint, because I'm the 518th one, right? Okay, so you're going to click the download button, and you're going to get an Excel spreadsheet. You're going to go over to column V as in victory, okay? And you're going to highlight the column, okay? With 518 companies, there's going to be more than 1 page, right? So to eliminate that, we are going to paste using the clipboard with the A on it. And what that does is it scrunches everything. Instead of 20 pages, it's going to scrunch it down to 3 or whatever. Okay? And this is just one word that we've done. And we got 4 more words and 3 UNSPSCs to do. Okay? So, then you're going to go and do it again, right? We go up to find the small business. We're going to put in a keyword. And I've also highlighted the UNSPSC. Once I've done the keywords, then I'm going to do the UNSPSC codes, okay? And so in this one, there's 87, okay? So I go over to column B, copy and paste using the giant A. This isn't brain surgery, people, okay? It's just that I do this for a living. I know how to do this. My job is to train you on how to do it. Oh, and by the way, hopefully you took a handout that has these written instructions, okay? Like I said, I've been doing this for 13 years. You're not going to remember all this crap, right? Oh, yeah, son of a gun, yeah.
Where are your handouts at?
On that table there, where that African-American gentleman is sitting. Yeah. This one right here. You should have this one. If you didn't get it, go grab it and just follow along with me. Okay. The idea is to get as many keywords and classification codes, okay, so that you're competitive, okay? Because let's say, okay, I type in the word monitor, okay, and I get results, right? Okay, well, you didn't put the word monitor in there. You just lost out on an opportunity. See where I'm getting at? So you try and get as many as possible. So once you go through your keywords and classification codes, then you're going to get a piece of paper and a pen or pencil and open up that Word document that you just have, let's say 50 pages or 100 pages, whatever. Then you're going to go through and you're going to write down, you're just going to go through and write down words that you haven't done a search for. Okay? And then you're going to do a search on that. In other words, the whole point is get as much as you can. Okay? Does that make sense? Was it something I said, ladies? Thank you very much. Okay, so now we're going to update. So we go back to log in if we're not logged in, right? And I'm going to click on the third option, Manage Notifications. You have to be logged in to get there. This is your second profile, okay? This is your private one, okay? So, on the left-hand side, it says you always want to say yes, you want to be a subcontractor. And let's see, and then you put in at least one email. You need at least one. If you've got a staff that you want them to get solicitations, you add their emails also. Second is the California Register, the CSCR. Yes, you have to say yes if you want to receive any solicitations. And then you, you see I have here two. I deactivated one and activated another one, okay, just to show you. On the right side, you have the counties, okay? They call them service areas. Now, for this, you have one and only one choice. For service areas statewide, you click there. You want every possible solicitation. Now, your company is in Riverside. You only want to do business in Riverside. That's fine. You're going to get everything from the, Oregon all the way down to the Mexican border and everything in between, okay? Today, okay, you only want to do Riverside. Well, in a year, you hire 2 more people and you go, hey, I can probably expand, go into San Bernardino, maybe San Diego, Imperial, LA, okay? You don't have to change this part at all. All you have to do is change your California profile, and instead of just having Riverside, you check LA, San Diego, whatever, okay? My point, my job is to give you every opportunity possible. It's up to you to say yes or no, you want to do it or not, okay? So, and there you see, I checked service. Now we scroll down to the UNSPSC section. Now I can put in a UNSPSC code or a description, a word, okay? So I've got 50 pages, double-sided, okay? So I circle that word, okay? And that circle means I've put it in description, okay? So, and there is that. And now, I come here and I look and I go, oh, let's see. I don't see anything that has the parent code, okay? So I first want to go and find, oh, I found one with the parent code, okay? So I'm going to add it, okay? And you see I already have one up there for public safety, 500. Okay, so then I go in and I put in that 500 at the top under UNSPSC codes, and I get all these. And you see that these are the subheadings for paving equipment, 14, 23, and 25. I want to add all of them, okay? I may not do concrete surfacing machine, okay? But you still want to check it, okay? Here again, it's affording you opportunities for today and for as long as you're in business, okay? So that when you do expand, maybe you can add servicing machines. Okay? So I put in a UNSPSC code and I get the paving equipment. So I add it. Okay, and there it is there. Okay? Now, on the right side, I've got a wild one here. Okay? It's the 8-digit specific. So up in the UNSPSC, I want the parent code. Okay? So I put in the parent code, and there it is, and I add it. Okay, and then it's going to come over here. The whole idea is to get the parent code in all of the subheadings. Okay? Does that make sense? Everyone understand what I'm getting at here? Okay? And then you save it. Now, I'm going to give you an example. It is on this page that if there is an 8-digit specific UNSPSC code that me as a buyer, I load up on Cali Procure. If you have that code on this page, you're going to get notified that there's a solicitation out there. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you an example. I sell red paint. Okay? So I put in the search engine, paint, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 0. I hit search and I get red 01, blue 02, yellow 03, green 04. Okay? I add it and it goes over on the right side. Okay? So, a couple months go by, I get a solicitation. I open it up. It's for blue paint. Okay? I told you I don't sell blue paint, right? So I delete it. Okay, no file, and go on with life. A couple months later, I get another one. It's for blue paint again. Don't sell it, so I delete it. That afternoon, I get another one for blue paint. I have 3 options. First option, delete the email, go on with life. Second option, delete it, right? Go into notifications, find that 8-digit code, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 2, delete it. I'll never, ever get another blue paint solicitation. Or 3, go to my boss and say, boss, we only sell red paint. I've gotten 3 solicitations for blue. Do you think maybe we should start selling blue paint? Gross, that's a great idea. Why don't you put in the request, change the profile saying that we now offer blue paint. And hopefully we'll get awarded that contract. See how all this works? Right? Okay? This is your private account. Okay? If you know you will never do whatever, then delete it. Okay? But right now, as you're trying to create your account, put everything in there. And then as the months go by, you get a solicitation. I know I'll never do it. Okay? Go in here and delete that code. Okay? So now, okay, it's not going to do it. Okay, so I've circled every keyword and done a search by either the keywords, okay, and now instead of 10 keywords, I've got 40, okay, because I've got them all circled, right? Then I go in and do the UNSPSC codes, and I get a couple more parent codes, okay? So then what you're going to do, did you see that button up there? It says download, okay? You're going to click on it, okay? And it's going to give you a list. You're going to highlight the list and put it into a Word document. Now that list is going to have the parent code and all of the subheadings, okay? So let's say I have 200 codes now. 10 of them are the parent codes and 190 are the subheadings, okay? So on this, I want all of the codes. Now we're going to transfer that information over to the public, the California profile, okay? So we're going to go to Cali Procure. We're going to click My Work Center. This takes you over here, and you want to manage your certification. And on the top right, the second box says Amend Options. So you amend application. Now, what that just did was that took me to the online application that you got certified with. Okay? There are 7 pages. We need to get to the 6th page, which is Other. And the only way that you can do it is it defaults always to this first page. And so what you have to do is go down to the bottom and hit Save and Continue. Go to the next page, go down to the bottom, Save and Continue. 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it takes you to the GARS, the Gross Annual Receipts page, where you put in your federal income tax information. And you want to say yes. Don't say no, say yes. It's already there, okay? And it takes you to the Other page. On the top left are the service areas, okay? Like I said, either you can do it singularly, right? Or there's a button for all services, all statewide, okay? And then on the right side are your keywords. Now, the problem with our process is we never give you the rules that we want you to follow. I'm going to give them to you now, okay? Keywords, 1 word per line. Use the singular, not the plural. And if you've already said it once, you don't have to repeat it. There's one exception, and that is office supplies. I have never, ever heard of anyone asking for an office supply, right? It's supplies, right? Okay, so to get an empty box, all you do is you hit the plus sign, and whatever, if you did it up here on paint, the next line would be blank and then livestock, okay? So, you see I've got light bulbs and lamps. I need to change those to lamp and light bulb, okay? And the reason is, if you put in the singular, okay, you'll get the singular and the plural will get listed. But if you put the plural, you won't get the singular, right? So you want to be as inclusive as possible, so use the singular. Okay, makes sense, right? Okay, so let's say this was office supplies. Okay, so I hit the plus sign. Here I would put office, hit the plus sign. Next line would be supplies, plus sign. Then the next line would be supply, and then plus. Then I'd go back up to office supplies and hit the red X, delete it. That make sense? God, isn't this scary? This is making sense. Okay, so like I said, I now have 40 words instead of 10, right? So I go in, type in the singular word, hit plus, put in the next one, plus, plus, okay? Until I get all of them. Then I'm down to the UNSPSC. This is where I'm going to add the classification. Now, remember I said that I downloaded the 200 UNSPSC codes, right? And I highlighted the parent codes, right? Up here in description, you want to put in the description of the parent code that you've highlighted. And then what will happen is when you hit lookup, it'll come here, and then you click that little box there, and it will add it. Like there, okay? And once you do that with all 10, in my case, examples of 10, then you make sure you save it. This, if you're very effective, should take you a weekend. Seriously, you know, if you want to do a good job, right, and make sure that you're totally inclusive, because this is a big job. This is make or break, okay? Because if you have in the notifications, the UNSPSC codes that identify you, you're going to start getting more solicitations. Isn't that the name of the game? It's for you to say no. Okay? Yes?
Wayne, when we're in front of our computer,
right.
Let's say we spend a weekend doing this.
Right.
Do you have tutorials that we can pull back up to walk us through these steps?
Right there.
Awesome. Thank you.
You have the instructions right in front of you. Okay, and so then you want to save and exit. Okay, any questions on this? It's pretty, like I said, this isn't brain surgery, it's just that I know how to do this, and you don't. And it's my job is to share, and as you see, I share well. Okay? Okay, where to do research. Okay, this is where the solicitations are housed once they are completed. It's called skippers. So we go back to the home page, click on quick links. The fourth one, find past purchases. This takes you here to the search engine. And I normally tell you, you either put in a description, that's a keyword, right? Or you can do an advanced search, which will add the UNSPSC code. You can do one or the other. But on, today's Monday, Thursday, I got a call from someone who had just been hired by their company, and they go, oh, we've been doing business with the state for 5 years now. And he goes, is there any way I can search what my company, all the contracts that my company has done? And I look and I go, yep, they're right there. Supplier ID or supplier name if they're certified. And it will list all of the companies that, that in this case, his history. And he had like 50. So, but anyway, you can, like I said, there's different ways that you can do a search. And that's why I've got the supplier highlighted there. Or you can put in a UNSPSC, okay, and hit search. Now, this thing goes back all the way through December 2015. With that said, I highly recommend that once you hit search, go to the bathroom, let the dog out, let him do his business, okay? You might want to pour yourself a cup of coffee. It's slow as molasses, okay? Because it's going all the way back, and depending on what you're trying to search, okay? Some of them are real quick, and some are, you think are going to be quick, and they ain't, okay? But you get this giant Excel spreadsheet, and over here, It has the department that owns the solicitation, and you have the purchase document. Those are the two most important things that you want to know if you're looking at something. It gives you the first item, okay, and start date, end date, and then the grand total. If you're just looking for stuff that's 5,000 and more, right now, you can just go right down. Oh, there's one for 11. Here's one for 52. Oh, there's a close one here. That kind of thing, okay? Then, the fourth column over from the right is the buyer's name. Okay, now listen to me very carefully. You heard it here. You ain't supposed to get this information. You're not supposed to talk to a buyer. You are supposed to talk to the advocate. Those are the gatekeepers. However, you came to my workshop and just got privileged information. Okay? So, let's say that I wanted to talk to Michelle Ramos Brown out of CDCR. Okay? That's the prisons. Okay? So, you have a question about this specific contract that's been completed, right? You know it gets renewed every 2 or 3 years, and so you want to get the original one to see what it looks like, right? Give you an idea of what what you're going to bid on it, okay? Out of respect for the advocate, you want to send it to Michelle, and in the CC block, put in the advocate's name, okay? In this case, it's Nina Martinez, okay? She's in charge of the 35 state prisons throughout the state. Guess what? She probably will know more than Michelle does, okay? Because Michelle only knows about this contract. Nina is supposed to know, have a general idea of all the contracts throughout the state for the prisons. So she may give you more information than you got from Michelle, okay? And just go, Dear Michelle and Nina, I'm questioning this, and if you have any more information that could help me, okay? Oh, and by the way, here's my capability statement, okay? Why not throw that in there, right? So, I like to show this page. This is unspfc.org, okay? And up here in the code name, you can put in a keyword, okay? If you're trying to find words, okay? And I put in paper, and my God, look how much there is for paper. You see what I'm saying? So whatever you do, put in that code and see what comes up. Definitely help you. Any questions on this part? A lot of information here in there, huh? But I promise I'd change your life. If you follow what I do, I can get you to the door. Okay? You still have to knock, and God forbid, you're making a living at what you're selling. Okay, if I can make it a little easier for you to sell to the state, then I've done my job. The advocates. These are state employees tasked to assisting you to pursue contracts with their department. Okay, every department that procures $100,000 or more must have an advocate. Some departments have multiple advocates, like Caltrans. They have 12 districts and headquarters, and each one is individually owned and operated. It's not like I like to put it. Like with the CDCR, okay, there are 35 prisons. Each one operates on their own, okay? Folsom can't tell San Quentin what to buy because they have different needs. They have different levels of security, whatever, okay? Or a furnace goes out in Folsom, well, why does San Quentin need to know that? Unless their furnace goes out, whatever. So, they can assist you in identifying the department buys, okay, advising you of business in future procurements and upcoming procurements, okay? And they have issues with prompt payment. Prompt payment. If you are a small business, not a DVBE, okay, you are guaranteed to get paid within 45 days of an undisputed invoice. Notice I said not DVBE. So if you are a DVBE and you're not, and you qualify for small business, you better get that one, because if they're late on the payment and you're just DVBE, they're late on the payment. They could pay you in 6 months, whatever. But if you're small business and DVBE, you fall under, because you've got the SB certification. And if they don't pay you within 45 days of an undisputed invoice, they have to add a late fee to it, okay? So, and it's supposed to be automatic. So, okay, and then you're going to send a capability statement, and we're going to Google capability statement for examples, and it has here identify your certification number, mention relative experience, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But we go to Cali Procure. We're going to scroll down to the 4 squares. The bottom right one is training and resources, and we find the small business and DVBE. We click on it. It says download the directory, and we get this giant Excel spreadsheet. Okay? 235 on the list right now. Okay? So, you notice the ones in yellow? Okay, that means something. But before I explain that, I'm going to tell you about the small business DVBE option. It's for small businesses and DVBEs. It's for IT and non-IT goods and services from $5,000 and a penny up to $250,000 minus a penny, and from $5,000 and a penny up to $333,000 for public works. Okay? The buyer has the option of going into the database and finding at least 2 small businesses or 2 DVBEs. You can't mix the certifications. But my lesson here is that if you qualify, if you're DVBE and you qualify for the small business, get them both, because in this option, you're in both fields. If the buyer's looking for small businesses, you're there. If they're looking for DVBEs, you're there. Okay? And it's all free. Can't beat the cost. Anyway, 5 years ago, our director said it was a bunch of baloney, this option. Okay? And why? Number one, me. Okay? I'm out here trying to lure you into getting certified, right? So would it not be logical for my department, which is DGS, to come to you first? Okay. For you to come, for my buyers to come to you first, right? So we created the first policy. We dropped that 5,000 down to 0 for small
Should we start dancing?
Yeah, really. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Anyway, down to 0 for. Oh my God! I can't believe I'm going dead. Anyway, 0 up to 333,000 for public works, and for 0 up to 250,000 minus a penny for IT and non-IT goods and services. Okay. Anyway, so we came up with this first policy. Okay, and so it's mandatory for the agencies highlighted in yellow to come to you first. So who would be the first 11 agencies that you'd want to contact? The ones in yellow, right? Okay, now let's take it a step further. Construction. How many people in here are in the construction field? Okay, 2 of you? Okay, so what I told you about the 235, forget. The only ones you have to worry about are the ones in X under column C, construction. Okay? Now, for the 2 gentlemen who are in construction, what I would do first is I would go down this list and find the intersection between the yellow lines and C. And the first one is Highway Patrol. They would be the first one that I would talk to. Then I'd go down and find the other ones that intersect the first policy and construction, okay? Then I would go back up and start with high-speed rail, PIA, and then down the list. Okay, see how all that works? Okay? So, it's been maybe 2 months now. Caltrans has a FIRST policy for small businesses. So their BEAD projects from 0 up to 333,000 are not posted. They have a FIRST policy. So all of Caltrans stuff, you can, it's mandatory they come to you. So all the Caltrans districts, you can contact them, okay? Now, I've given you a list of who to talk to. How about if I tell you what to say? 30-second elevator speech. This is universal. This can be, this can be used on the federal, state, or local, okay? 4 items. Your full name, your company name, your supplier ID, and what you sell, okay? If you can't impress them in 30 seconds, a 1-hour one-on-one ain't gonna do you any good, right? So, everyone on that advocate list has been trained by either me or my peer in listening for the 30-second elevator speech, okay? And so we tell them, when your phone rings, assume it's a small business wanting to talk to you, okay? And it will go something like this. Good morning, my name is Wayne Gross. I'm with ABC Fence Company. I'm certified as a small business. My supplier ID number is 17529943, and I build fences, be it chain link, cement block, or wood. Can you help me? Short, sweet, and to the point. I've been reciting this for 13 years. Okay, I got it down pat. Okay, you're not. Write it down. You're going to be on the phone, right? Just read it, right? And get to the point. Literally put your name, your company. Okay, if you don't know your supplier ID, I guarantee after about 6 or 7 calls, it's going to be there, okay? And what you say, right? And practice it a couple times. You know, just talk to your partner and just say, hey, I want to give you my 30-second speech, huh? Okay? And just give it to them, whatever. And then they'll probably be the one critiquing you the most anyway, right? Did you notice that I slowed down when I gave them my supplier ID number, right? Because people are human, right? Their paper and pencil aren't right there by the phone, right? Hopefully by the time you get to the certification number, they've got their pencil and paper, because that's the most important thing, right? Because they can always say, hey, can you tell me, what your name was again? Blah, 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 right? So, capability statement, okay? If you go to Google and type in capability statement examples, you get a whole bunch of live used capability statement. You know that plagiarism? Use it here, right? Find someone who has a format that you can use, right? If you're in construction, let's say cement, okay? See if you can find one with cement. Whatever, okay? So I love to use this one because number one, you see at the very top it says capabilities statement. The reason is when you read everything, he's got more than one capability. And I will bet my life when you create yours, you'll have more than just one. Okay? That's my pet peeve. Okay? It's called capability statement. Okay, 3 rules. Number 1, 1 page. It can be double-sided. You see here, she made hers. She can't tear it, but it's 1 page. Okay. Second, make sure you have your supplier ID number. Okay. You notice that this person has more than 1 certification, so they've listed them all, right? And then the third are the parent codes for the UNSPSC. Now, you've just updated your profile, right? Okay? You got your notifications page that has the parent codes and all of the subheadings, right? On the California portion that the world sees, you've got your new list of 40 keywords, and you now have a list of your parent codes, right? So all you have to do is go to the classification section of your profile, highlight the parent codes and their description and paste them on your capability statement. All that hard work was not done in vain. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, like I said before, you've got other certifications here. You notice they all have supplier ID numbers, right? So if I'm talking to LA County and the WOSB by SBA, there's the number, okay, for Women Business Enterprise. So if I'm talking to that person, they can go into their database, pull up that supplier ID number, and see my profile in their database. That's why you put the numbers in there, okay? That makes sense. Okay, here are the UNSPSC codes. All of these agencies don't use UNSPSC codes. They use the NAICS codes, North America Industry Classification. So they've got the code and the description. He's also using SIC, which are very old codes. But these two are generally the two codes that you'll get. Okay? Very simple. Okay? I'm offering my services. You have my email. If you don't, remember wayne.d.gross@dgs.ca.gov. Send me a copy of your capability statement, and I will I will help you and correct it. Freudian slip there, right? My job is to help you, okay, in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, I've been doing this for 13 years. And, you know, and it just takes my little red pen. I love doing it. It makes me happy. So. Okay. Now we go back to Cali Procure. It has here Get Certified, and we're going to talk about prompt payment. Like I said, I talked about that before. What you're looking at is you click on here, and it gives you all the stuff that you need to know about prompt payment. Generally speaking, it's for small businesses only. Okay? So you are guaranteed payment within 45 days of an undisputed, I repeat, undisputed invoice. So when you turn that invoice into whoever, that's day 0. Okay? And so if in the first, basically everything is a 2-week process. Okay? If you don't hear anything within the first 2 weeks, you can assume it's going up to the next level. Okay? And then 2 weeks later, it goes up to the 3rd level, which is the controller and your checks in the mail, generally speaking. There are some agencies that don't pay on time. Okay? That's why you keep track of when you turned in your invoice. Okay? You know, $10,000 is a piece of cake to me, right? You know, I mean, number one, I'm not doing contracting, but $10,000 might mean you having to terminate someone, you know, because you can't make payroll, that kind of thing. Okay? So, and I'm not even going to talk about the $200,000 or $300,000 contracts. So, okay, we're back at Cali Procure, finding training and resources. We go down and we're going to talk about our reciprocity partners. Okay, this is the list, and we have the area, we have the different agencies throughout the state that honor either small business and or DVBE. You live in the best county in the state because I believe there are 10 or 11 agencies that honor the small business and DVBE, and only one of them doesn't do DVBE, and I think that's Sandag. Okay? But all the others in San Diego County do small business and DVBE. And so you'll notice that there's a line under each one. Okay? That means it's going to take you to their registration page. And look how hard this is. Here's BART's. To register with BART, click the green button. Okay? You will get it, once you get done, you will get a supplier ID number. Okay? Now, with the small business advocate list, you have an Excel spreadsheet, right? So with the reciprocity partners, you want to start another Excel spreadsheet for reciprocity. And so you would put BART, you'd put the supplier ID number that you get because that number identifies you in the BART system, right? And then go back to BART, their homepage, in the search engine, put in either contracts or procurement, and you will get a list of their buyers, their emails, and their phone numbers, right? Okay? So you do that with all the people that you want to get certified with, okay? Then, you know that 30-second elevator speech? Okay. Hi, my name is Wayne Gross. I'm with ABC Fence Company. My BART supplier ID number is whatever. You see what I'm saying? You just substitute that number, okay, for whatever agency you're talking to. And oh, by the way, I will send you my capability statement. Your email address is, you're verifying it, right? And you send them a copy of your capability statement. What happens is, it doesn't matter if it's a state, city, or federal, what happens is with the state, the advocate gets it, then, let's say it's Nina at the prisons. She has 35 emails she's going to send your capability statement to. Okay? Is that not nice? Right? And it was just making a phone call. Okay? Now, at the very end, we have the utilities. And you will notice it says here, they are not reciprocity partners. However, if you are a, let's see, minority, women-owned, DVBE, or LGBTQ+, you can get certified with the Public Utilities Commission. Okay? Now, if you are a DVBE, you are already registered. All you have to do is go to their database and look at your account. I tell people two things. Look at the contact person and look at your federal employer ID number. I've been told those two things you want to make sure are correct. Okay? And you'll notice that there are 29 of these. Okay? For DVBE, instead of a 3% goal, they have a 1.5% goal. Okay? But anyway, if you want to do business with AT&T, you click on it. It takes you to their page. You get registered, and you get a supplier ID number, and you do the Excel spreadsheet for all the utilities if you want to do. And let's see, in San Diego, you do have the San Diego. I want to call it PG&E gas. That one, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so when you click on this Learn More button, this is the diversity program. It's because of General Order 156 that this is created, and you can go in and, like I said, minority, women, DVB, and LGBTQ. So you can get certified here. Now, for that San Diego company that you're referring to, they were saying you can be women-owned and all this diversity stuff. You can do the diversity right here, and it's valid in San Diego and any other agency in the state of California. City, county. Okay? Yeah. Okay, the next thing to talk about is our California Multiple Award Schedule. I hate to use the F word, and I've used it several times already. And everyone knows the F word, right? Federal. Right, there you go. So, anyway, this is our version of the federal program. California Multiple Award Schedule offers a wide variety of commodities, non-IT services, and information technology products and services, which are assessed to be fair, reasonable, and competitive. Now, the General Services Administration is how the feds buyers buy, okay? It is a 125 to 150 page application. Takes up to 2 years to get certified. How many people want to do that? Good. Okay, I'm going to show you a shortcut. It's called CMAS, okay? Our application is 5 pages, and we are down to 45 days. Now, doesn't that sound a little more reasonable? Now, here's the hook, though. You have to have a GSA schedule. What? Yeah. It doesn't have to be your own. Ah, okay, yeah. So, let's see if I can, what this says. Oh, okay. I'm going to first show you where inside state contracting, we have a beautiful flyer you can look at, and that shows all of the different types of how we buy, okay? And then this is a video on CMAS, okay? And you can listen to it, it's like 7 or 8 minutes. This is the acquisitions page that has the different ways that you can buy. Here's all you need to know about CMAS. That number right there, 916-375-4363 or 4365. Okay, what you're going to do, you're going to call and you're going to say, Wayne sent me. You're going to go, oh, not him again, right? Anyway, so you're going to tell them what you do, and then you're going to say, do I qualify to get a CMAS contract? And the reason we do it that way is because there are certain exemptions, okay? One of which is construction. I hate to say it, but I want you to call because there may be something in the construction field that will qualify you in with CMAS, okay? Let them tell you no, okay? Because the last thing you want to do is fill out an application and find out 45 days later that, well, you didn't qualify because it was an exemption. Find out at the beginning that you don't have to waste your time, is what I'm getting at. Okay? So, why am I bringing this to your attention? Okay? Your state certification is good for state agencies. It's your foot in the door for reciprocity. Okay? CMAS is used by state agencies and the reciprocity partners, and, are you ready for this? Cities, counties, school districts, community colleges, the CSU and the UC universities. Okay, who doesn't use it? Duh, anyone that has money, right? That can spend it. Therefore, you need to apply it, okay? I tell the story of a guy, he's a DVBE, and a dear friend of mine. He retired as a Sacramento city policeman. He's 6'7", okay? This big guy, right? I've got a picture of him in all his garb, the vest and the holster and the gun and everything, right? Very intimidating looking, right? Okay, with his grandkids though, he's the biggest teddy bear you want to meet, you know what I'm saying, right? He retires, he gets certified as a small business and DVBE. And he said, well, you mentioned CMAS, and I said, yeah. He said, yeah, I want to apply for that. I said, well, that's fine, right? Anyway, come to find out, the last 5 years before he retired, he was the instructor for CPR. Okay? So he did all of the city policemen, the county, the CHP, went into the different counties, Roseville, Placerville, Yolo, all these counties, they all knew him, right? So what happens, he gets CMAS a contract, right? It's not what you know, it's who you know, right? Because the city of Sacramento needed a CPR instructor. Look at the name. Guess who got hired? Okay, yeah. Okay, I didn't see him for about 2 years. Okay, and I'm up in Sacramento, and I'm doing an event, and I'm sitting at my table, right? And I'm talking to this lady, right? And he comes up behind me. Now remember, he's 6'7", and we're both sitting down, right? So anyway, I can feel this presence behind me, right? And the lady that I'm talking to, her eyes go up to his, right? And he's kind of snarling, right? And of course, and she kind of laughs, right? And I turn around, Mike, how are you? And excuse my French, but he goes, Wayne, I'm PO to you. I go, hold that thought. And I complete my conversation with the lady I was talking to. Anyway, so he comes around and I said, and why are you PO'd? And he goes, well, you remember that I'm retired? I go, yeah. And I wanted to work maybe 2 days a week. I said, yeah. He goes, I have to turn away business because of his reputation. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And literally, in Sacramento, they saw his name as a CPR instructor. They knew the product, they knew him, right? Why would I not want to hire him, right? So I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm putting money in your wallet. Jeez. So, okay. But what I'm saying, if you have that goods or services that you could use like that, CMS is the way to go. It really is. Okay? So, okay, I said I'd talk about the dashboards. These are the 6 dashboards that we have. You want to know what each department is spending, or if you have a UNSPSC code that you use, and see what agencies are using it. And each one of these dashboards, they list the top 30. Okay? Leverage procurement agreement spends, top 10 department spends, UNSPSC spends, and certified small business DVB spend. Find out who the top 30 DVBs are that are getting all the money. Okay? So if you go to dgs.ca.gov and in the search engine type in dashboards, you'll get this link here, and you open it up, and there are the 6. And you just click on one of the 6, and it'll pull up the information you need. Okay? The next thing is commercially useful function. Okay, and this is for all certified small businesses and DVBEs, contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers of goods and services bidding on, participating in a state contract, regardless of the procurement approach or the payment method used, must perform CUF. These are the things that you have to do. Execute a distinct element of the work. Perform, manage, or supervise the work. Perform work that is normal for the firm's business, services, and functions, negotiating price, determining quality and quantity, ordering, installing, and making payment, not subcontracting a portion of the work greater than expected by industry practices. Okay? This is what CUF isn't. Okay? An extra participant in a transaction, contract, or project through which funds are passed in order to obtain the appearance of small business DVB participation. Okay? So, this is my sister, and this is her husband. Okay? So, I asked him, hey, I've got a contract, I know you're a DVBE, I just want to use your number because there's mandatory DVB participation. Okay? I'll slip you $5,000 after the contract's done. Okay? Sounds fair, right? It's illegal as hell. Okay? Does it happen? Yes. And if you get caught, I pity you. I really do, because there's financial penalties. Okay? So, now, unfortunately, this marriage had to end after 35 years of wistful bliss, right? Okay? Anyway, so he's not talking to her. He's not talking, and I legitimately use him, okay? I mean, I said, hey, we're going to do business, okay? And he's doing his job, right? But because of the divorce, he cuts her off by the knees. He cuts me off. He stops work, right? And I can't do any more work until his work is done, okay? Well, he's literally screwing me, right? So I call him up. I email him. I call him. I knock on his door. He doesn't respond. Okay, I can't go out and get another substitute, okay? I have to tell the administrator of what's going on, not that he's my brother-in-law, okay, but the fact that my DVBE isn't performing, okay? And so then they have to contact him, and hopefully he talks to them, right? If not, then they say, okay, as of the first of the month, you are no longer a part of this contract, okay? Then we can go in the process of finding a substitute for him. It's just not this automatic thing, okay? So, not being used to perform the work as stipulated in the bid, and no longer used to provide goods and services listed in the initial bid, okay? So, the moral of the story is you've got your capability statement, you've got your California profile, okay? Don't lie. Okay, they'll see the lie, in your profile. Just do what you honestly can do. Okay? If there's questions, ask. Okay? The last thing is the emergency registry. Realizing because of COVID and the fires, okay, we got emergencies. We need stuff now. Not in a week, not in a month. We need it now. And so we have created this emergency registry. Okay? It is a separate link. And so, as it says here, emergency containing requires fast, around-the-clock turnaround times. A business should not register unless they are fully capable of immediately providing the goods and services they list. And here are some of the categories, just to kind of show you. And then here is what you're going to need when you register. You need to be certified. You're going to give your supplier ID number. You're going to give the categories. There's the list of categories. On the descriptions of products and services, make it as endless as possible. You give them every word possible of what you can do for them. Okay? Like your keywords. If you got a list of 50 of them, copy and paste them. Okay? Because you know that you've done your exhaustive search of all the words that say what you can do. Right? Excuse me. And then your business address, and then your contact information, primary and emergency after hours numbers, okay? And that's the link, and there's more information. But if you go to Cali Procure and click on the bottom right one for training, you can go here. Under Inside State Contracting is the emergency registry, and it takes you right there. And here is the link for you to get certified. And it talks about it explains this in total depth. It tells the different categories to see if you qualify. Okay? So, for resources, we're almost done here, people. We have the Small Business Development Center. Those are 4 new businesses. It's for business consulting, planning, marketing, and access to capital. The Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, that's for established businesses. Government contracting is their expertise. SCORE is for new businesses. Those are retired executives that will help mentor your business. Okay, we all like to hear of successes. Okay, if you happen to have one, please send it to custserve@dgs.ca.gov. And, I love this one. Okay, this is going to be on the website, this whole presentation. Here is a link that if you click on it, you can get training, additional training. And you can, Introduction to State Contracting, Cali Procure Registration and Certification, find contract opportunities, or update your Cali Procure profile. Okay? The appointments are available Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to noon and 1 to 3. And you can learn about this opportunity. Here is the, if you want the scanner there. Okay? And here are the 4 things that you can do, and they're all free. You click on one of them. You put in the date and the time, and then it has here, your phone number is optional. Put in your phone number. I don't know how many times I've been scheduled for something, and fortunately, I call them 5 minutes after our scheduled time, and they'll go, "Oh, I forgot," right? Or I just got back from the hospital. I had to take my daughter, whatever. So we either, pick up then, or we schedule another time that's convenient. So we're all human. I understand that. So in summary, we talked about the register. We talked about updating and improving your profiles, plural, right? Your California profile and your notifications page. We talked about the skippers. This is where all of the completed contracts are stored. We talked about the advocates, your new best friends. We talked about reciprocity. Those are agencies throughout the state that honor our small business and or DDBEs. We talked about the California Multiple Award Schedule. This is California's version of the GSA. I showed you the dashboards. We talked about commercially useful function and emergency registration and resources. I gave you a lot of information. Hopefully you learned something new. As I said before, this is not brain surgery. I just want to show, if I could just use, okay, you see you've got the instructions here. Okay, I'm certified now what, which is a great review of everything that you should do. You've got the brochure, and I just, what I did, I just made a picture of our Cali Procure, and if you turn it over, I gave you the 4 things that you need to know about California Multiple Award Schedule, the emergency registry, the advocate list, and reciprocity partners. So, does anyone have any comments, questions? One last thing. This gentleman gave me their business card, and my first question was, where's your supplier ID number? Right? Remember, there are 3 places that supplier ID number needs to go. The first is on your signature block on your emails. The second is your website. And the third is your capability statement. Okay? Every certification you have should be on there with the supplier ID number. That way they can, whoever the agency is looking at it can pull up your information off of that supplier ID number. Okay? Anyone going?
I have a capability statement I'd like to.
Oh, look at it. She wants me to look at it. Yeah.
I'm trying to get into business.
All right. Okay. Well, see, the first thing is, okay, this is pleasant. That's one page because it's double-sided, okay? But I just looked here and she said capability statement. No, I know. Anyway, it should be capabilities because she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 capabilities. You see, okay? Doing this, you just kind of go. Okay. Let's see. Okay, yeah, she has certifications, but she doesn't have numbers. Okay, do you see how this all works out? Okay, like I said, it's not brain surgery, and I'm here to help. I really am. So, and one final plug: December 15th. I better see everyone there. Everyone there at the Southwest Veterans Business Resource Center. Okay, it starts at 9, goes to 4 o'clock. I will be doing a workshop on your profile update if you want to hear it one more time. But I am bringing 2 big guns with me. Andrew Lachelle, who is the procurement officer for the state of California, and Anda, and I always, Dragicki, I believe is how, I always screw up her last name. But anyway, she is the director, she's in charge of our state certification. So, and Al's got other people of great interest, and of course, mine is my interest is because I'm bringing the state stuff. But how many tables are there going to be?
COVID, we dropped it down to 40, and they're all maxed out. 40.
Okay, we have 40 exhibitors, so you can go with your capability statement. No, neither. Moreno Valley. Moreno Valley. And if you haven't registered, the easiest way is to go to Southwest Veterans Business Resource Center, which is swvbrc.com. And in the top right, it says, what's it say?
Summit.
Okay, Summit. Click on it and register. And it's free. Guess what? I'll even buy you lunch. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, and okay, you have NAICS codes here. Well, we want UNSPSC codes. Those are the codes on your California profile. Okay.
But no, I understand.
Who wants to know how to do business with the federal government in 7 minutes or less? I'm not going to pull up any fancy PowerPoints or anything, but I got to give my disclaimer. My name's George Rapsowitz. I work for Naval Sea Systems Command, more specifically NSWC Corona Division, which is up in Norco. I'm on my day off today. I'm not representing my organization. I cannot promise you a contract. I cannot guarantee you a contract or a solicitation. I'm just going to help you guys real quick in 7 minutes or less, tell you what you have to do to start doing business with the federal government. But I'm going to ask you a question first. How many people in here, and be honest, are just starting a business? Okay, one person. How many people have been in business for 2 to 5 years? Okay. Out of you folks that have been in business for 2 to 5 years, how many of you have had federal contracts? Okay. No federal? Okay. So we have one that has one person. Did I miss anybody? You have a federal contract? What was your federal contract with?
I did it for a general contractor. We built VA.
So you were a sub?
Yes.
Good.
I was a prime, I did Markforce System out in Quantico.
Okay.
Did some IT work.
Got it. Okay. When you go to, who here is familiar with SAM.gov? Okay. When you go to SAM.gov, you're looking at these contracts with the DOD, and they're like $250,000 plus, right? Sherman Antitrust Act requires you to have a bond. How many people in here can get bonded for $250,000 plus? Be honest. I got good credit. I probably still can't get bonded for $250,000. Okay? When you go to SAM.gov and you see all those list of vendors on there that posted interest, right? Who here has reached out to those vendors, those primes, those big ones? Okay. That's your strategy, the real quick way to get in with the federal government, because the bonding requirements are really, really high. How many people here know that because of COVID-19, that the federal government can purchase up to $25,000 via P-card? Who here accepts credit cards? Have you looked on neco.navy.mil, neco.navy.mil? There's probably $100 million worth of credit card buys that are $25,000 or less.
Sorry, can you say that one again?
neco.navy.mil. neco.navy.mil. MIL, yes. Yep. Okay. Putting aside any of your certifications as a service disabled veteran or small business, because you know the federal government, except for the VA, is self-certification if you're a service disabled veteran or small business, and the SBA is getting ready to take over that certification. How many people in here have an SBA 8A certification? Okay. How many of you would like the government to hand you a $4 million contract just because you have an SBA 8A certification? Not just one, you can have multiple $4 million contracts, up to a certain amount of money based on your NAICS codes. You're a minority, my own woman business, right? Yes. Have you gone to the SBA down in San Diego and talked to the 8A rep? No, so what I need you to, afterwards we'll talk real quick, I'll put you in touch with the right person. How many of are women, women-owned, right? Women-owned businesses. Why are you not applying for SBA 8A? It is free for you to do it. It's a little bit cumbersome. How many of you have tried to do the GSA process? How many of you have tried to do GSA 8A stars? Which one's easier to do? Correct. If you have a GSA contract, they say it takes 15 months, you can do it in 4 months if you take the time and effort. You're on a list, you're on free marketing. Other prime contractors will come to you and use your GSA schedule because they don't want to spend the time and effort like you have as a small business owner because you're hungry. You need to get on GSAadvantage.com or .gov. GSAadvantage.gov. Take the time to do it. Once you're on there, it's not just the federal government that's looking at you. It's other commercial entities that are looking at you to say, can I use your GSA schedule to resell to the government? This is the quick way to make money with the federal government. The organization that I work for just awarded a $900 million contract, NITE, NITE contract. We support the United States Fleet Forces, $900 million. You can't bid on that. Have you gone and looked at the night contract and looked at the list of vendors? There's multiple vendors that have been awarded that contract. Once you see those list of vendors, Alion, A-L-I-O-N, Alion, CACI, C-A-C-I, go to their website and look at their supplier diversity. Tell them you're a service-disabled veteran-owned small business or a woman-owned small business, because in those contracts, those vendors have to meet a percentage of minority-owned, woman-owned, service-disabled veteran-owned. They get evaluated every year because we are required as federal agencies to report to, in this case, the Navy, the Office of Small Business Development for NAVC, how much percentage of that work is sent out to other vendors. So this is the quick way for you to get in, to make money. You don't necessarily have to go right for the federal government. These big box companies, they need you. I'm not kidding you. I have these contractors that come to me and say, do you know vendors that want to do business? I say, yeah, they're all over the place. So I had network people, and I've referred this man before to people. Am I right? Oh, yeah. So how many of you think you need to go looking at for a contracting officer to do business with the federal government? Who's always says you got to find out the contracting officer is? Don't even waste your time. They can't. I'm not a contracting officer. They cannot promise you anything. If they are, they're going to go to jail. What you need to do is you need to find the person who has the requirement. The person used to be me. I've moved up in a different position. The requirement person is the person who's writing that statement of work, the person who has the money. We're a Navy working capital organization, so the Marine Corps, for instance, Marine Corps Systems Command, is one of our biggest vendors. They send us a funding document, and we perform a service. I've written materials and installation, service contracts, public works contracts. I sit down with a team of engineers. We designed weapons systems. We designed platform systems for ships, IT systems. We've bought ammunition. We bought explosives for the Marine Corps. We bought all kinds of stuff. So you got to find the person who has a requirement. How do you find the person who has a requirement? You have to go to each organization. For instance, the regional maintenance centers down in San Diego. You have to find out who their small business advocate is. Google is your friend. Small business advocate, regional maintenance center, San Diego. Small business advocate, Naval Surface Warfare Center, Corona Division. Or go to NAVC and find out who their small business advocate is, and they'll give you a list of all the warfare centers throughout the United States. And they'll give you an email that's directly to that small business advocate where you send your one-page capability statement that Mr. Gross talked about. We have the same requirement. We want, hey, I'm looking at this in 30 seconds. I want to say, yeah, I can use them. You send them that with a blurb saying, I would like to be listed as one of your vendors. And what they'll do is they'll send it over to the people within the organizations, the guys like me that, well, used to be in those roles. And I would look at your capabilities and I say, that's a pretty darn good, they got good past performance. There's a section on my statement of work where I can list the vendors that I asked for the contracting officer to send the solicitation out, specifically for small business, 8A programs, and things of that nature. So when you look at these websites like sam.gov and nico.gov, it used to be FedBiz for SAM, you don't need to chase the big fish. That is your marketing tool. Look at all those vendors that show interest and reach out to them. Go to the big box companies, CACI, Alion. Look at Seaport E, S-E-A-P-O-R-T, space E, the letter E, and look at all the existing contracts right now. You get the contracting number, you go into sam.gov, you type in that contract number, it'll tell you who's been awarded that contract. Yes, sir. Seaport E, you Google it, Seaport, S-E-A-P-O-R-T, space E. Well, yes, yes. E is still around. I'm sorry? Seaport E. Alion is a big major company. I think they were just bought out by CACI. A-L-I-O-N. Yes, they are always looking for small business vendors. So we manage all the Navy training ranges, the bombing and strafing ranges throughout the U.S. That's what my group does. that's a $9 billion project. Let's just say you guys get 1% of small business. Somebody do the math on that, of $9 billion a year. You don't have to go to the major big websites, the FBOs or the SAM.gov and all this, and try to bid those directly. Find out who those big box vendors are and say, can I be one of your small business vendors? This is what I do. And that's how you gain that past performance. And you keep doing that, and then you're looking at other big box companies, and you add that to your resume. You start building your capital, start building your business up. Now you're ready to go out and start bidding on the big projects. That's for federal. I can't really comment on the state. It's a whole nother ballgame. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what the big box companies are? What's a good place to go to find out?
So if I were thinking like you, I have a contractor's license in the state of California. I'm a licensed C7 low voltage. This is how I would tackle it. I would go to Seaport E. This is for Navy only, Navy and Marine Corps. Seaport E, and I would look at all the previously awarded contracts. I would also go into NECO, the NECO website, neco.navy.mil, and I would go into sam.gov, and I would look at all past awarded contracts and the duration. If they're 1 + 5 years and they were just awarded recently, that means they got 4 years left on their contract, or 1 + 3, that concept, and I would find out who was awarded that contract. It tells you. I can show you afterwards if you want to meet with me one-on-one. It tells you the vendors or vendor. If it's an IDIQ, it's going to probably be multiple vendors. Another thing you need to look for is BPAs, blanket purchase agreements. BPAs, you'll make some serious money. Those are all in sam.gov, blanket purchase agreements, BPA. Because we need it in 30 days and we're going to pay for it. But you go into sam.gov, neco.navy.mil, and Seaport E, and you look at all the contracts that were recently and awarded within the past year or two and figure out who the vendor is. Go to their website, the vendor, find out who the supplier diversity person is. Say, hey, here's my capability statement. I understand you have this contract. I'm local. I would like to be able to support you. Or I have an office in that location. I would like to be able to support you. Any questions? I took longer than 7 minutes. I'm sorry. All right.